This co-op poker game is what my friends have been forcing me to play for countless hours.
We win.
We win.
Yeah, trip 6.
We're out of here.
We're out of here.
Wait,
Thank
you
God.
went so high for just an
Thank
ace?
God.
There's nothing else else that could be.
And guess what? You can play 2 totally for free with just a deck of playing cards. The game is all about getting 2 cards like you're playing Texas Hold'em, then trying to signal to your teammates about the strength of your poker hand without talking. So it's the 4 rounds of Hold'em. First, you got the initial looking of your cards, then the flop, then 1 card revealed, then another card revealed. Everyone will be self-assigning their ranking every round, signaling how good their hand is. But what really matters is at the end of round 4 as you reveal and see who can make the best 5-card hand out of their hand and the board. Example, here you're insanely lucky and get pocket aces. Then that became a 3 of a kind off the flop. Wow, you're lucky. Then you still think you have the best hand come at the end of the game. So then you insist to your team that you had the best hand throughout all the rounds. So you have the 4, which is the strongest for 4 players. And yes, you do. Triples are really good. Thing is, every single teammate must be ranked accordingly. So the second best hand must be better than the 3rd best hand. If your team all ranks correctly, you win. If you don't, like if anyone makes a mistake, everyone loses. The reason why you can play this for free is that the game is mostly just a normal deck of playing cards, and if you buy the product, you do get these poker chips to signal strength across the 4 rounds. So you could just get your old poker chips and write numbers on them, or even use differently colored dice, or even just post-its would work. By the way, it's 3 to 6 people to play, and each round is about 10 minutes or so, because it's slightly similar to a Texas Hold'em round. More differences will be explained soon. I actually almost made this review by just making my own DIY copy, but I decided to buy this copy for 15 bucks to really get you guys more information. Pros! For component pros, the cards are all good quality. I mean, they feel like playing cards. The face cards though are pretty cool and going with the whole heist idea the game is trying to depict. More on that later, but here's some funny looking face cards. I like this jack with his cool stuff. The real selling point are these included poker chips. And they feel great to touch, are super clear distinguishing rank from even across the table, and even have a backside that's clearly different if you want to play variants. You got these player aids, and this poker ranking reference is so nice. It is so useful to those who aren't comfortable with strength of hands in poker.
Do the rules for this game work like Pac-Man, where if you go
Wrap around? No.
Wrap around? No? Okay.
No wrap around.
Okay.
And the gang is just insanely accessible because of how similar it is to Texas Hold'em. It's super easy to teach and have someone learn. All you have to say is, hey, do you know poker hands to someone? And they probably know the poker hands or at least know of poker. So then you just deal out the pocket cards. And then as they look at their pocket, all you have to say is that the big change here is that we're trying to rank our hands together. And then their eyes will light up and go like, whoa, that's a change. And because it's just poker chips and cards, it's very easy to start and restart games. Just shuffle the deck, deal out the pocket, and then just deal out the 3 to 6 poker chips for the first round. You can literally just throw these on the table and it works.
Play.
Then to reset rounds, you just have everyone return their cards, shuffle the deck, then good to deal. That takes like 30 seconds if you're comfortable with cards. Oh yeah, and the rulebook is real good, very clear diagrams and tight writing. So now let's get to the gameplay pros, and the first one is that the gang has very interactive cooperative play that works really well with the no talking restriction. First, because of the nature of the signaling, you have to constantly guess what other people have in relation to you, and so you're getting more information as more cards come out. And thus you can see how they act to it. On a simple note, say you have a 3 and a 5 round 1. Okay, that's pretty bad, right? So you go for getting the 1 chip, the worst. Then your buddy grabs a 1 chip from you, which you can do. Oh, okay, so does he have a worse hand than me? No, you insist you have the worst hand, so you grab it. This can infinitely continue until one of you just straight up concedes they have the lower hand. That's just a round 1 guess. Now you can go to round 2, and you see your buddy's eyes light up, and he quickly grabs the highest rank, and you see there's a pair on the board. Well, now you can deduce he has hit a 3 of a kind off of a low ranking card, but hey, a triple is a triple. And that example just featured 2 people. When you're playing with more players, say 5 or 6, everyone is doing this mini game of analyzing the hands and seeing how much slightly stronger or weaker they are to everyone else. And this is across 4 rounds for everyone because nobody folds in the gang. This arguably makes it way more player interactive than Texas Hold'em because everyone participates in every single part of every round. Just like Texas Hold'em, hands are all relative, but instead of having 2 or maybe 3 people reveal at the end because everyone else folded, now everyone flips. And you're not trying to beat them all, you have to gauge relative strength. Now, maybe instead of playing a game of chicken of how much you want to bet, now you're playing a type of cooperative chicken and seeing who has the strongest hand as you take chips from the middle. Just like competitive poker, this all comes down to the wire with the final reveal, as you take all the information of how people participated in the rounds leading up to the reveal. And it's nice that in the gang, you can straight up see everyone's signaling pattern after the game ends, There's no hidden folding in this game. Plus, there's ways to help your teammates if you see a pattern that they're missing, since you can discard people's tokens. Yep, you can do that. You can just discard people's tokens. So you can kind of nudge them to think a little bit differently. And the big kicker here is that there's no turns or actions in this game. You can just straight up take and discard people's tokens as you want. You can just grab, discard, it's all free, no actions. So this game makes use of the IRL experience really well. You can really gauge people's body language as they decide to take tokens based off maybe they take it really fast or maybe they take it really slow. Does Jimmy tend to grab first in a round if he has a good hand? Or does he like to wait it out and see what other people do first? Does he usually overrank a single ace high when you're guessing that there's tons of pairs throughout the table? And thus you can discard his rank so he gets the memo to grab a lower rank? There's just a surprising amount of communication despite there being the no talking rule, which can get loosely house ruled to just you cannot talk specifically about your guesses on other people and what you have in your hand. And staring down people and grabbing chips and moving them or slamming them, that's pretty clear communication. With this cooperative play, the gang ends up giving this mouthfeel of poker without the negative consequences. You still got the tense reveals at the end of each round, but now actually bigger because everyone is involved. Everyone flips over their hand, and you're still doing calculations of straights, flushes, triples, etc. off the flop, because with being dealt a pocket, the outputted hands are going to be the same strength as Texas Hold'em, making full houses and triples as hype as ever. The magic is through people posturing different, because you're working together, you got more hands to factor in. There isn't really an exact science to play this game, that's for your group and for your personalities to figure out. Do you rank high off the promise of getting a flush, or do you rank super low until you hit the flush? Relative strength changes every round, some games will have triples, some will have something like a 6 pair be the best, just like poker. Except now no one folds, so you always have to count for more hands. Probably the biggest boon is that you're not reliant on betting. You don't have to bring out quarters or use Venmo, none of that gambling stuff. Real talk, people can be sensitive because it's money. It's people's money you're dealing with. Then if you just give people chips and don't tie it to money, well then if someone's losing, they're more likely to do a dumb all in, or maybe before the night ends, everyone just does a dumb all in to try to get a lucky win. Oh, also this is full on cooperative, so there's no bluffing, which just makes this more palatable to way more friends and family. Finally, because it's still Texas Hold'em hands, it has great replayability for just being a deck of cards. And here's where I can talk more about the variants in the box. So officially the way to play is best 3 out of 5, as you are these bank robbers. If you get 3 victories before 3 losses, you win as a group. Then to spice that up, you can use these 2 decks, where if you lose a round, you get a benefit to use in a later round. And if you win, you get a negative for the next round. And there's some neat stuff here to make rounds feel different, like getting to ask your teammates questions about their hands during a round, or making certain chips locked. That is, once someone claims a chip, it can never be taken away from them that round. So you gotta think harder before locking into your rank. You're supposed to resolve these cards in order in a deck, but really you can just mix and match them however you want. Like you could start the game with them if you really want to spice things up. Look, there's a bajillion house rules that I've been learning with my groups, so I think that's just best discussed in scoring. What? No cons? Well, yeah, I couldn't really think of any. Yet, before I give out the score, I want to say that this score only applies to this specific product. So this, the gang, that you slightly deplete your wallet for and get these specific components. If you make the game for free, which you can do in seconds, if you have a deck of playing cards, then yeah, I don't know what to give a score for that is. Maybe it's like a 10 out of 10 because it's free. I don't know. But before the score, we got a little discussion of, this video is brought to you by Box King Gaming, a board game bookshelf to store your games horizontally without stacking. We've now happily replaced our old bookshelf, so if you want to take a look, use our link below for 10% off and help support the channel. Anyways, let's score the game. So we're going to critically evaluate the aforementioned pros, no cons of this game, with the caveat of whether or not this is a good idea in the first place. And this is cooperative poker, where you cooperatively rank your poker hands. Seems like a great idea to me. And so this is going to get a score, recommender score of 9 out of 10, it is excellent. Yeah, despite there being no cons, there isn't quite enough here to get to the esteemed 10 out of 10 ranking. Like, it kind of weirdly struggles with player count, where 3 is too easy, because ranking 3 people, I mean, not that hard to do. And then the 6, by contrast, is way harder to do. This could just render playing this game at 3 or 6 just really frustrating for some groups. And this box doesn't really have an answer for that. Again, that's pretty minor. The other minor thing is that you're basically just paying for cards and poker chips. And then you have these miscellaneous variant cards, which are neat, but kind of pale into comparison to some house rules I've learned about the game. These are all just box reliant things, but what is more critical, in my opinion, again, didn't make the cons, but it's that this game has one slight drawback over Texas Hold'em, which is the decision space. So while technically this game is more interactive than Texas Hold'em, and there's more grokking you can do because there's more hands always in the game because no one folds, all you're doing on a turn is still just ranking. You're just grabbing a number or discarding someone else's number. That's it. This can reduce some rounds to oh, I clearly have the best or worst hand, so I clearly just grab 4 or 1 respectively, nothing else to do. Like, sure, I could discard others, but they probably have a better grasp on that right now. Cool, I just chill for the rest of the short round. Like, it's possible my hand isn't as strong in later rounds, so I have to think more, but then again, some hands are just so weak or so strong you just sit there and do nothing. Whereas in Texas Hold'em, you can still think about how much money to exactly bid to misguide your opponents and try to get more money. But again, Texas Hold'em is competitive, requires you to bluff, and realistically, you're probably not playing it too seriously unless you're playing at a casino, or I guess online nowadays. So for most casual IRL groups, the gang is going to be a great alternative. It has the satisfaction of hand reveals, tons of player interaction, and you get to see a lot more hands than Texas Hold'em. You just get to see way more poker hands. And from what I've experienced growing up in America, a lot of young men are really into that whole poker Texas Hold'em terminology. They just love throwing around these terms. Flush, straight, full house, 3 of a kind. It just kind of gets people off. I don't know what it is. Thank you to the casinos for brainwashing people. The gang is also more player dependent than poker because your win-loss is literally tied to every single teammate not messing up. So while it is very interactive, I have seen certain groups start dogging on people if they mess up. Cause yeah, I guess technically you were misleading them for that one round where you accidentally took a 3 instead of a 2. Sometimes in the midst of calculating 5 other people's hands, you can mess up. Like despite you being able to move anyone's chip, this isn't really a game where you can just carry the team. People still have to be able to read their hands well, and there's so much hidden info, you don't know what they have. But the plus side is that there's usually no quarterbacking, but I guess you could just discard everyone's token as soon as they get it. But who would do that? That'd be insane. And then also you can just use the gang to practice poker hand calculations before you go to Vegas, because you have to calculate way more than just your hand in this game, meaning that your brain is calculating harder. All right, house rules. Let's get into all those. So the first time I played this game, I actually played where someone used 1 deck of playing cards and then 4 copies of it to have one giant deck so that in between rounds, they didn't have to shuffle the deck. Smart idea. But the kicker was actually progressing the difficulty, where every time you won a round, your team won a round, you would all get an extra card. So now, instead of having 2 cards as your pocket, you now have 3. This makes the strength floor higher and higher, and the calculations more intense. At some point, we even had a separate hand for a robot player, where we would all see 1 card from that robot's hand and then have to go off of that card to now collectively rank that robot's hand. So yeah, this is much different than the more rigid system in gang where you just play best 3 out of 5, because with house rules, you can just infinitely play and make the ranking harder and harder until the night ends. I'm sure there's a lot of house rules online, like look at these ones here. So just go to town. Basically, all that matters is the reveal of poker hands with the cooperative ranking. The gang is kitchen table co-op done really well, with a simple spin on a classic that probably makes it a classic in of itself. While this is a ringing endorsement of this game, that is, if you've played Texas Hold'em, you should at least try a 10-minute round of this. You don't have to buy it. Make the game for free. Play with your friends. Go tonight. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. My personal score for the gang, after playing it dozens and dozens of times during the month of January, is going to be a 7 out of 10. I have a good time with it. This personal score was really hard to pinpoint because since the game is so light and accessible, yeah, I'm always kind of down to play it. But man, some of my buddies want to play this game so much, they wanted to play it the entire night. There was a time where they said, oh, Ashton, you can't leave until we win a round of this. So I was not allowed to go home until we finished a 6-player game of this, which took a while because 6 players is hard. Like, this game feels so repetitive sometimes. It really is a 4 out of 10 for a lot of those games. It's like, let's play something else. Thinking. Why do you have your backpack on?
Why do you?
I'm ready to win.
And ultimately, I narrowed this down to a 6 or 7 out of 10. And upon reflection, yeah, I'll just give this game benefit of doubt. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's just some type of dopamine hit to look at what card you're gonna get, and then trying to get in the headspace on others of what they have, all with the accessible pokerisms around it. Bonus points for the barrier to entry being shockingly low. Why wouldn't I introduce this to more people? The gang does a great job of updating the game state with new cards to keep you interested. I really like interacting with people in this slightly silent way with lots of movement, and it just builds up nicely to the end of the round where you can do the big reveal and people can get excited about winning or losing and explain to others why they were signaling a certain way. However, now I can discuss my experience of playing this game so much back to back. And again, you know me, I don't really like cooperative games as much as competitive games. So eventually I get a little bit bored of, well, you either win, where everyone just wins, yay, that was kind of supposed to happen, I guess, or you lose and then people start blaming each other, or you just blame RNG. From what I've seen is that everyone, yes, I mean everyone, including ironclad veterans of this game, will mess up at least one match. And then it just feels bad for everyone else, and then sometimes they dog on that person for messing up, and yeah, it just kind of feels bad all around. It also just isn't rewarding to keep marathoning, because while getting cool hands is fun, there's really not much flavor or player expression for me to keep getting hands over and over again. Because see, the turn is that you just grab number, that's your turn. Grab number, okay, you grab number. Okay, yeah, some people really like hierarchies, I get it. But yeah, this system can only go so far for me. I'm very happy I bought this, totally worth the money. Good to keep in the collection for non-board gamers. I'm gonna be introducing it to many of those. And then for the people that really wanna keep playing this game over and over again, those actually gamer friends that want to play, I'll play a little bit with them. Like a little bit, because that's how this filler shines, in a little bit, in small doses. Would I like to keep eating potato chips and popcorn over eating a full 3-course meal? Absolutely not. But eating potato chips for like 5 minutes? Pretty fun throughout the day. I want to end with how remarkable of an impact this game has made on my friend groups. It really feels like high school again when people just wanted to play BS poker again and again. Then it was the Resistance, and then it was Coup, then it was Sangguosha, then it was back to Coup. Then there hasn't been a game to fill in that void until now? Maybe? I'll have more thoughts at the end of 2025, hopefully. Because like right now, I actually want to play BS poker the most, because that has way more player expression and risk than this game. Also, we're going to end with Steven playing this game and trying to learn poker hands on the fly. You're getting there, buddy. Thank you to our patrons.
I thought it wasn't good. Wait, what did I get? It doesn't make anything. Yeah.
It doesn't make it. Yeah, so it doesn't make anything. Meaning, his is better than yours.
Yes. And I got a 3, so he's
you guys
better than me.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Higher.
God damn it! I forgot.
If you had 2, it would have been perfect.
No. So 4 is good. One is
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should have swapped.
You had the right idea, just the wrong.
Yeah.